Ninja is a steel roller coaster located at Six Flags St. Louis in Eureka, Missouri. The infamous looping coaster was designed by Aerodynamics, a company known for their innovation in the coaster community. Some of their more well-known creations include Magnum XL200 at Cedar Point, X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Tennessee Tornado at Dollywood. However, the Ninja has a bit of a different story. Aero began construction on the coaster in the late 1980s for a World's Fair known as Expo 86. At this time, it was known as Scream Machine. However, part of the way through the project, Aerodynamics fell into bankruptcy and couldn't finish the coaster. Fortunately for the fair, and unfortunately for riders, however, there was another company to save the day. A company with the rights to Aero's track design, so they could easily start where the Aero team left off. This company is Arrokoma, who, unlike Aero, is known for making awful coasters, such as the Boomerang and Suspended Looping Coaster clones. They finished the track work of Ninja, and it opened for the one and only season at Expo 86 before being relocated to Six Flags St. Louis for the 1989 season. Ninja has a height of 108 feet, a max speed of 54 miles per hour, and a track length of 2,430 feet, making it a fairly small-scale looping coaster. Normally the POV portion of the review would begin here, but I actually have a quick announcement to make. I would like to introduce my new Discord server. This is a family-friendly coaster enthusiast server where we will be chatting about various coaster topics, showing off coaster photos, and it is also where I will be giving updates on my Connects roller coasters. If you want to join, there's a link in the description. Anyway, back to the review.
A ride on the Ninja begins at a station completely void of theming, where you sit down on the surprisingly comfy trains and pull down an over-the-shoulder restraint. After being dispatched, you go down a very small drop before an unbanked turn into a slow chain lift hill. When you reach the top, you take another small dip and go straight for a bit before banking and turning to the right. This leads you into the drop, which actually features some surprisingly fun airtime in the back car. Unfortunately, this is all the ride has to offer in terms of airtime. Also, the drop is very short. For the height of the ride, it could have been much taller, but it's not a big deal. After the drop, you go into a vertical loop. It's pretty jerky, but definitely not the worst part of the ride. Then you go into one of the worst parts of the ride, the Sidewinder. It just is asking for headbanging. Just try holding your head on the right side the whole ride, and it won't be that bad. An interesting part of the Sidewinder's exit is that there is a near miss with the lift chain, so that's kinda cool. Next you go into a jerky banked turn. It's not terrible, but still not very fun. Then you go into a mid-course that doesn't slow you down that much. After the drop off the mid-course, you go into a surprisingly smooth turnaround. It's not great, but very tolerable. The entrance into the double corkscrew is kinda jerky, but not awful. The double corkscrew is just a double corkscrew. It's not awful, but mediocre. You can kinda see a theme in this ride. Not terrible, but mediocre. The turn after that is a pretty jerky turn. In my opinion, by far the worst part of the ride is the helix. The whole time your head is going side to side as if it was a pinball. Here you can see my head in the helix. It's going side to side very aggressively. After that horrible helix, you go into a tight turn, and then the ride, thankfully, is over.
My thoughts on the Ninja are very similar. The ride is very rough, has lots of headbanging, and in general is not something I enjoy. It features over-the-shoulder restraints that have a little bit of padding, but could definitely use more. They aren't the worst restraints I've ever experienced, but they are far from good. Theming-wise, Ninja is pretty lacking. There are 2 statues of ninjas outside the entrance, but aside from that, there's nothing. The queue line is only switchbacks and stairs, and the station is completely and utterly bare. Theming isn't the biggest thing I look at in coasters, so it doesn't bother me too much, but I definitely wouldn't mind if there was a bit. So overall, Ninja is definitely a very bad ride. There are some really hard jerks, and overall it's pretty painful. However, it's not the worst coaster I've ever ridden. Still though, I'm only going to give it a 3 out of 10, and I feel like that's even being a little bit generous. The boring layout combined with every other flaw I've mentioned leads me to rank this as my 57th favorite coaster out of 60, which is not good.
It's not my least favorite coaster, but it's up there. Right now, it's my 4th least favorite coaster out of 144 coasters I've ridden. The parts that don't have much headbanging besides the drop are just so boring. They do nothing fun. Most of the time, it's pretty jerky and boring, but the bad parts are really bad. Those are my thoughts on Ninja at Six Flags St. Louis. It's pretty bad. By far the worst coaster in the park. I give it a 2 out of 10. It's not very fun, as I said. It's my 4th least favorite coaster I've ridden. It isn't very fun, but oh well. Maybe it will get replaced with a Raptor soon.
So that's going to do it for this review. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.